For your information, so I was the first person in Bhutan to formally take the academic courses in the internet. So you can say like kind of the first internet professional in Bhutan. So I chose to leave during the time when I was most wanted by them and then start my own. The reason being because if I failed my own venture, I would always fall back on one of them. So per customer earning for us is higher than the other two competitors. So that is our differentiator. So we have not lost even a single employee.
How you have maintained that subtle difference between admiration and jealousy? Have you faced that emotions and how you have maintained that balancing thing?
One of my partners, business partners, tell me I have very high social capital, meaning a huge network. That's why I can, my friends, people who know me will trust me straight. If I request them to invest, for example, okay, 1 crore in the business I want to start, they will, without a second question, most of them will put in. You will have to put a limit to your desire, to your greed, because these two, desire, greed, and maybe there's so many things. These are the two I know. So if you do not put a limit to those, so you will never be happy.
Nabu is a Bhutanese entrepreneur who chose to return after completing telecom from Australia, not to settle but to build. From leading Bhutan Telecom to co-founding Nano, which is third largest telecom company, he is restructuring Bhutan's digital journey. As a board member for Bank of Bhutan and Cable Operator Association of Bhutan, he is reshaping and bridging the gap between policy, innovation and purpose while staying grounded for his love for outdoor and football. To our listeners, if today's conversation remind you that what is within your limit, then do not forget to follow, share and subscribe. This is Beyond the Framework, where stories like Nabu's remind us that future belongs to them who dare to build it. Welcome to Beyond the Framework, Nabu. It's an honor to have you with us. So I'll start with my first question because you are a football player and I think you are a football champion before joining starting your own company. So as for you, who is GOAT of the football, Ronaldo or Messi?
Thank you, Ratna, for having me first. So for me, I used to play football when I was in the high school, when I was in class grade 9 and 10. So I used to play in the high school football A team, and then I was the captain of the high school team. And then I also got selected into the national team. But then unfortunately, I didn't want to play for the national team because that would have impacted my study. So for me, football, I love football. I play football still. And then for me, for the GOAT of football is between the two, Ronaldo and Messi. So I'll go with Messi. But then for me, the GOAT of all time would be Maradona, my personal, yeah.
Okay.
But between the two, I'll go for Messi.
Okay. So what is that characteristics of Messi you like the most?
Oh, he's quite agile, very small in build, and then so agile, very fast, and then it may be his physical stature that makes his mobility and agility so quick, and he's so good in thinking and then making decisions so quick. And so that's why no matter whether even though he's small in stature, but then he can pass through, dribble through so many big guys, opponents. So, and then that's how talented I find him.
You come from a small society and a collective society. So probably how people see you holds a value more higher than it is in India. Okay. So when you start your entrepreneur journey, so have you faced that perception that you are being over ambitious or you are being greedy for moving ahead? Have you faced that perception first of all, and how you navigated that perception and sell through that phase actually?
In Bhutan is very small. I come from Bhutan, and it's a very small country. The population is just about 7 lakhs, less than a million population. And then for Bhutan, it has to be, everything is small. So whatever anybody begins with, when they start their entrepreneurial journey, any business or any initiative, any project. So everything is small. So for me, because things are, every initiative in Bhutan is small, so I had to start small. So I never felt so that was something that I was going to start something big to the envious or envy of anybody else. So I never felt anything like that.
So you never perceived that?
No, no, never, never. Yeah.
So same question goes to your family also. You belong to a big family, and as I understood, your father is not that higher up in the position.
Right.
So when you started or thinking about this journey of starting your own, so have you discussed with your family, and how was their reaction, specifically father, mother? Anything they have they told you that you should continue with your current job and could not go for that? Is there any such phase you had gone through?
Yes, yes, yes. When I worked in Bhutan Telecom, is a state-owned telecom operator, and which also provides mobile services, then internet services, plus the fixed line. So three services. So I worked there for 15 years, and then I was heading the one of the departments or the verticals, which is the internet and the IT services of Bhutan Telecom. And Bhutan Telecom is one of the biggest corporations and we could call it companies in Bhutan. So I think in terms of revenue during then, so that was second biggest company in Bhutan, second biggest corporation. So it's a huge company, and then I was my position during then as the general manager was directly below CEO. So in the structure of Bhutan Telecom, we had CEO and then the general managers. So three of us were leading one vertical each. So I was leading as the general manager of one vertical. So that's a very prestigious, very prestigious job for me or for anybody to hold that in a corporation. Like you could call in, if you, let's say if I draw an analogy to, for example, in India, a situation in India or a company in India, it's like holding a position just below the CEO in Airtel, for example, let's say Bharti Airtel. So that was how prestigious the responsibilities or the position I was assigned to. So everybody was, when I wanted to come out and then do my own, so everybody, almost all of my friends, my relatives were against the idea. So they were saying, why should I be leaving such a very good job, very influential job, and then you could call it very powerful job in the sense I could do so many things. I had a lot of people, and then I had a lot of lot of responsibilities within the company. So Bhutan Telecom is it's a state-owned company, and then providing services everywhere. So close to 1,000 employees in Bhutan. So 1,000 employees in India may not be a big company, but for Bhutan is like the second largest company. So then, because they saw the potential I had in Bhutan Telecom, even leading the Bhutan Telecom, so I was expected to lead Bhutan Telecom or take over as a successor to the CEO. Because of all those anticipations and expectations my friends, relatives had, so all of them were opposed to my idea of leaving such a good job, such a big responsibility, and then moving to start something very small. Except for one of my sisters, by the way, I have 11, including myself, were 11. So except for one of the sisters, so the rest were all against my leaving that company and then starting something of my own. So they thought it's too risky, and then they even thought that I was too foolish to leave that kind of job and then start my own entrepreneurial journey in a very small way.
Okay. So Bhutan Telecom and Tasise both are a big and influential company, and I think their share price is higher,
Right.
on the higher level.
Right.
So when you started Nano, the name was small, but the step was bold, no doubt. So what was the vision and what was the story behind choosing that name?
Okay. Bhutan Telecom, as I shared with you earlier, is one of the biggest or the second biggest corporation in Bhutan, and the Tashisel is owned by the largest group, biggest group in Bhutan. So a biggest private group in Bhutan, sorry. So they are the two giants of Bhutan, and then so there are only two mobile operators, Bhutan Telecom and Trustel. So I was asked to stay back at Bhutan Telecom, and I was also invited to join Trustel if I left Bhutan Telecom at any point of time. So that's what they wanted to come over, so join them. So then I was told that if I wanted to pursue or continue with a career working for any organization or any company, so that would always have been Bhutan Telecom for me. So, but then if I went out of Bhutan Telecom, so then the only intent or objective for me was to do something of my own. So because these two guys are giants, so big, so and then for me I'm just an individual, so I don't own so much property, I don't have a lot of finances, a lot of money, so I had to start small. And then so I need to play between these two giants because I become a competitor to them. So a single person like me cannot become a competitor to two giants in Bhutan. So that's why I had to play my niche, find a small niche market, and then be always operate or do a business in the skill that I can manage in terms of the technical management plus the financial too. So that's why I wanted to always be small and then serve a niche kind of market, customers, a small segment. And then that's why we call it Nano. So the reason for choosing Nano is because Nano first thing refers to technology, nano technology we call it. So something, so I believe internet is also technology. So that's why that's the one thing. Then Nano being small, so that's why we are small. I began as a small, so I will always remain small. So that's why those are the two reasons for keeping my company's name as Nano.
Okay, okay. And what were, because you have started Nano, so what was the vision also? Means what was that unique niche you are trying to, have you already done that research before joining and starting, or you just, and also one more thing, how that thought provocation done? Because you are already in an influential position, and then you try to start everything ekdam, from grounds, right?
Right.
So what was that thought provocation, and what was the reason for which you have taken that step?
I always, one time or another, in over the course of my career, when I have energy left. Now I'm in just on 50 last year. So when I have energy left, and then something to that if I needed to do something, so and then I always thought I wanted to try something of my own in my life.
Okay.
And then so it was so 2015 was the year that I left Bhutan Telecom. So so I had to leave because, and the time of choosing of leaving, quitting the job, and then starting my own was the only time that I thought for myself the best time to choose was when I am most in demand by other people. So I'm referring to Bhutan, case of Bhutan. Okay, so because in Bhutan, so there were and then there's still shortage of people, especially people with the skills that I possess then and still now. So I mean the skills would refer to, for example, people coming from the internet and telecom background, kind of tech background, and then some kind of business background, the management background. So there were shortage. And then for your information, so I was the first person in Bhutan to formally take the academic courses in the internet. So you can say like kind of the first internet professional in Bhutan. Having done the formal courses, I mean the degree. So I was Bhutan's first. So this way, so I had that opportunity. And then so in around 2012 to 2015, so I was kind of invited not only by the like this kind of companies, but then by other companies like who wanted to get into the businesses in the technology, because IT technology, the apps, all these things were picking up in Bhutan. And then all the businesses people or the person thought that there was opportunity. So many people invited me. So that was the year when I was, for me, I was at the highest of the demand. So everybody wanted me. I would say that, but not that there aren't other people, but then within the sphere of my connections, so they wanted me. So I chose to leave So during the time when I was most wanted by them and then start my own. The reason being, because if I failed my own venture, I would always fall back on one of them. So that was the time of my choosing. So I think I covered your question. What was the first one? Okay.
That was nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what was the vision and what is the uniqueness which
Oh, okay.
also-
Okay. Okay. I left that up. So we call it our differentiation. I compete today as a small company, Nano, compete with the two giants in Bhutan.
Yes.
And so it's like Bhutan competing against China and India. So Bhutan can never compete in any aspect with China and India. But then so I have to find my space to operate. So that means a niche or segment of customer. So what we do is these two when the big companies operate, they also have a lot of disadvantages. There are so many things they cannot fulfill because they are big and they're slow and the decision taking is so tedious. So everything becomes slow. It's like elephant. So everything moves slow. So in that way, for us, agility, responsiveness to customers, I would put it, agility. So they can never match our agility. So when I say agility, responsiveness means quick responsiveness. That means quick responsiveness to meeting the requirements of the customers, right? To meeting the, for example, to extending or responding to the solutions or the services, or let's call it most often the responding to the support services. So that efficiency, these two giants can never beat us. Then again, because they have so many customers, right? So many customers, the quality and service can always degrade. And then to address those kind of quality concerns and to improve, so that they'll take a lot longer than what we can do in a quick period of time, because we're so small, decision making is so quick. So small team, small number of customers, and then what we focus is we do only enterprise customers, meaning business customers. We don't do retail or the home customers. So kind of like high paying customers, or we call it high valued customers. So we go only after our target customers are mostly the high paying customers. So we don't go down to every customer. So then having too many customers, but then you call it in telecom sense, we call it ARPU. So average revenue per customer. So that is what we hold higher than the other two. So per customer earning for us is higher than the other two competitors. So that is our differentiator. So quality, because we can always maintain our quality because we operate lean, we have lesser number of customers. We don't want to have too many customers. So then based on that, we always go after high paying customers. So those two are the key differences. High paying, so because they are happy, they retain, they are loyal to us. That's what we can retain, the quality of service and support efficiency. So that's what we differentiate from the other two.
So there is often a cultural hesitation for asking for more money. And for example, I can see that all the employees of Bhutan, they have remarkably low salary than other countries.
Yeah.
So in such an environment, how you have retained your talent pool and how you are able to give that agility and responsiveness? Because agility means obviously you have a defined set of talents which are going on, they are retained, they are happy.
Yeah.
That they trust you. Then only that team can grow actually. So how you have maintained that actually?
I'm proud to share with you today. We started off, we launched or we began our operation in 2015. And then so today being now 2000, this year being 2010, 2025, we are like now about 10 years old company. So for the last 10 years, so we have not lost even a single employee. One person left, but then he was only on intern, and then from the time he joined, so he was very clear that he was going to go out to study. So he's now in Australia. So rest, so we were able to retain all of them so far. So again, the thing that we differentiate for the employees is some kind of work atmosphere, work flexibility. And then one thing we do or we don't do in my company in Nano is we have no rules. First thing, we have no rules, no processes, nothing. So everybody kind of decides their own. So we have no systems, no rules, nothing. So we have some processes to follow only in when it comes to provisioning a new customer, a service to a new customer, or when we provide support. Other than that, for example, we have no rules, no system put in place where we will restrict an employee to a certain to a lot of constraints. So we have no constraint. Example, what I'll tell you is we do not have an official timing. Okay. So we do not have in a week, for example, which days we have to work, and then which days we don't have to work. So for us, you can say Monday, all the 7 days in a week are working days or even holiday. So if there's no work, people don't need to work. So as long as they fulfill whatever needs to be done, and then so if they can fulfill in 1 hour, and then if there's no other work to be done for the rest of the 7-8 hours in a day, so they can be anywhere. So then likewise, so there's no prescribed working hours or no prescribed leave or holidays. So if they are able to execute or take up their jobs, so they can take as many number of days holidays as they like. So that's how we operate. And then the other things what we offer to employees, which are known very rarely is offered by any of the companies or organizations in Bhutan, is for something called the meals and the refreshment incentives. By that, what I meant is, for example, lunch. So an employee can eat lunch in any restaurant. Of course, not so expensive ones, but of course we have restaurants around our office, so they can go there and eat. So that's being paid by the office, by the company. So and also for the refreshments, for example, tea, snacks, or anything, coffee. So if they would like to have at any time of the day, so they can order from anywhere and then share with the staff. So and then so the office will refund. So the company will refund. So those kind of facilities and then kind of flexibility is what we offer. Then other than again on top of that, so we have no structure, organizational structure. So everybody is equal. Yeah. So there's no reporting. Nobody reports to anybody. So everybody executes work in a team. So what we do, for example, so let's say mostly we break up, the field people break up into 3 teams. So then these teams are not again permanent team. It's completely based on requirements amongst themselves. So we have never formed a team. So okay, if there's a requirement to attend or provision a new customer at a location A, so 2, 3, or 4 of them will go. So it can be any combination. Somebody will pull. So there's no leader in the team, no captain in the team, no coordinator, no supervisor, nothing. So somebody can initiate and then go. So that's the kind of the teamwork or the organization we are in. Completely structureless. So of course, for the formality, I have designated myself as the CEO of the company, but then so everybody is equal. So nobody reports to me, for example, so they can do their own work. And then if I have to do, for example, or decide on something, then I consult with my employees or with my staff. So or even without me, so they have the full authority, power to execute. So that's how it is. I don't interfere, nothing. So it's complete freedom and flexibility. So that is something not, I would say in Bhutan, I can proudly or bluntly make a statement that no company or organization in Bhutan would do that.
So basically, you have enabled and empowered everyone to take their own decision,
Right.
be part of the team, and feel free to take any decision if you
Right,
want.
right.
This is obviously plus minus is always there.
Well, I was found a positive side of it because so far maybe we have been fortunate, and then when we, for example, when we're not a big team. For example, our so aside the Thimphu, the capital, outside of Thimphu, so in other parts of the cities or countries, so we work through the partners. So we don't have employees there. So we appoint partners. So we work through the partners. So only in the capital, that's we call it, let's say, a head office or the head in the capital city. So there we have our own employees. So right now we are around 18, 19 of us. So it's a very small team. So in Bhutan, we can call it ours is like a mid-sized company in Bhutan. So then what I noticed was if we left so far, we may have been fortunate. So far, so what we noticed, I in particular noticed, is if we leave out everything to people on the ground or anybody within their own decision. So I found that was more effective than having to consult one another, build a hierarchical structure where one has to report, get approval. So that's too slow. So they decide their own, and then so everything gets executed very fast, efficiently.
Okay, that's good. So in your initial days, who are the investors of Nano and how you have reached out to them? Is there any formal process like requesting for RFP or something, or how you reached out to them?
Okay.
And looking back, what do you think? What are those traits for which they have thought to invest in?
We never had investors.
Okay.
For example, I always wanted to start small. I wanted to be small. I do not want to be big, and I can't be big. Even I can be, I don't want to, because I work in the biggest corporation in Bhutan, the second biggest corporation in Bhutan. So working in a big corporation is big headache, big hassle. So you basically, I've had no life. So you have come to this earth for a living, and then not really for working your entire life. So you'll have to leave. So I needed to leave, meaning leaving, meaning spending time with my family, right? With friends, with meeting good friends like you, or going here and there, traveling, let's call it. So that's why. So if we wanted to become big, so you make big money probably, but then you have a lot of big responsibilities, big hassles, and then you basically lose your living or your life. So of the two, I still prefer to choose living than working. So of course I'm working to live, but then I had to put a limit to my desire. So that's what I call it. So I don't want to become very wealthy. I'm not materialistic. So that way I always wanted to start small, and then so coming to the point, so we had no investor. So I started off with my small savings, and then taking some small loan from the bank. Then I pulled in 3 partners. So I hold the majority. So the 3 partners were my own colleagues from Bhutan Telecom, so who used to be in my team. So 4 of us. So after I founded a company, then the second partner, my own colleague, he joined after a few months. The next one joined after a few months.
Okay.
Then the last one joined after a year or so. So we started off with our own small savings. Basically, they didn't have to invest, so I invested with my little saving I had, and then took some loan. So operating is small, so we were okay. So fortunately, the initial 2-3 years were we were quite doing okay financially. The return was quite good, and then so that's how propelled us so far to where we are now. So no big financing needed, and then we didn't look for investors. So people came actually, some big business houses. So they came to us, expressing their intent to invest and then grow us big, and then compete with the 2 big operators. So during then I completely declined. Yeah.
That's great that you.
And sorry, I forgot to tell you the traits why the trades they saw in me to come to invest in. Uh, in Bhutan is a very small society, very small community, and most of the people doing business or doing some kind of new things are almost all are in Thimphu. So Thimphu has a population of 150,000. So then it's a small network, so we know each other. So I know a lot of people. From the top to bottom, from the left to right, so many people, and then they also know me. So that way, for me, because first thing I was looking after, working. I was working in Bhutan Telecom, handling the tech company, right, the internet services and the IT services. So they knew about me. And the other trait that the investors, for example, those kind of power houses or the rich people who came, a few of them who came expressing their intent in me was because one thing I'm known for is, of course, aside the small competency or a little competency or capability I possess or I have known for within the small community. So the trust is, I think, is the major factor they come to for me, because one thing I do, anything is based always on the trust. So the trust, in the sense, they always believe that I can, if I wanted to do something, so I would put in all my efforts until I can succeed. I may fail, definitely, but then that's the kind of trust they have. So I'll never fasting trust in not failing or fulfilling their expectations. Second, in not they will never see me abandoning, for example, that kind of project or a business they start with, and then they will never see me abandoning that and then leaving them completely dry, or leaving them in a situation that they cannot pick up from. So the trust factor, I think, is the one. Yeah. So that's my main trait. That trust is something I'm known for within my circle of networks.
So, since Bhutan is a small and collective society, so there are very few people in your circle, but at the same time, you know many of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I have seen and what our conversation goes on, it is very eminent that people trust you and you have a very good relationship around them. So, with the success of Nano, how you have maintained that subtle difference between admiration and jealousy? Have you faced that emotions, and how you have maintained that balancing thing?
Hard question. Yeah, this definitely I have had success in Nano. So that Nano, this company or this business is the one that pays for my and my family's living. But then there would always be, I think, a small portion of people or the fraction of people who would always, for example, be envious of me, and then so will not be happy. So that also exists in a small society like ours. But then, as long as the intent is clear, that whatever I do is for my own, as long as I do something good with no bad intent to cause any harm, and then just keep and I think it's the best is not to. I did not face it like kind of never face a serious situation like that. But then, if for the little things I would have experienced, so I would completely ignore, and then I would never react. And then even if I knew with facts and figures, so I will never respond. So I'll just ignore them as if I have never heard, as if they're also good to me. So one thing I strongly believe in is, I think to any people, whether it's a business or any stranger or friends within my circle of friends, or even the strangers I meet on the street or in the restaurant or in the bar or in the park, as long as one is good, I do not feel the other person will be bad. So that's just something I live on. So if you do not react, so I think you don't get bothered. So you always maintain your focus, right? So and then nobody will bother you. So they'll bother you, but then just ignore them and then be nice to them. Do not never ever react. So you be good. You be as good as you were to them earlier, even if they come being bad upon you. So and then if you can, I think even being better than before to them, reacting in a better way, that would really, I think, tone down everything, and so those kind of things get resolved automatically. That's what I believe in personally, and it's the same in business too.
Okay. So you have made many investors by now, firstly. So is there any person whom you admire the most as an entrepreneur? And what are the three traits which you think you can highlight?
I still have some people within the sphere of my networks, people known to me who wanted to invest. For example, I also run an OTT business, which we are struggling, and then some of my friends invested. Then there are still some other friends who have not invested yet, but then they would want to invest. But then I've been honest enough, and I'm always honest. I'm an honest person. So because it has not been going so well now, so I'm putting them on a hold, because we wanted to revive and then see how the come up with the new concrete or strategic real plans, concrete solid plans on reviving and then growing that business. So only when the business grows, so I'll have the confidence to ask them to invest. So if I'm in a situation where I'm struggling, and then I do not want to put an investor in the same situation. So I have to see the potential, the stability of the business, and the plan ahead for to invite or to bring an investor. So I do not want to fail the expectation of an investor. I do not want to cheat the investor. So that's why when I strongly believe, and when I come to a situation, build a situation where there's a stability and the growth, so that's when I would take them. Otherwise, I'll not. So the trait in a person is first thing when I have learned, if I need to choose an investor, so I do not want to choose an investor who would put in just money alone. So they'll have to come in, may not help me or involve or get involved on a daily basis, but some kind of the strategic guidance, the support, and the intervention. Simply putting in money and then so leaving just myself managing the entire show or doing the entire thing. So that's something I don't want to do, and then I would like to avoid that. And in terms of the investment, so if I have to choose, so I'll have to choose somebody who wants to get involved to asset the money investment,
So
financial.
anyone is favorite out of them?
I not really. There's nothing. Nobody favorite out of them. So I treat them whether they would invest in, for example, 1 rupee or 1 million or 1 crore. For me, investor is an investor. So I'll have no preference. Equal treatment.
Okay. So you are in the board of Bank of Bhutan and also Cable Operator Association of Bhutan.
Yeah.
So they both are different games altogether.
Right.
So whenever you enter into the boardroom, what are the typical discussions you guys have?
Okay. So I am on the board of Bhutan's biggest bank. That's called Bank of Bhutan. So there is one of the biggest corporations again, right? The biggest bank in Bhutan. So the Bank of Bhutan is 20% owned by SBI India,
Okay.
State Bank of India. The rest 80% is owned by the our government.
Okay.
So there it is very high level. So any decision taken there, anything put up to the board is very, very high level and very, very strategic. So most things, the Bank of Bhutan existed since I think late 1950s. I think I can't remember exactly. It's either 1953 or 1963. That's when the bank was started, instituted. So there are they're an old organization, big bank, but the leading bank in Bhutan, leading in a sense in terms of market share. So we lead, we hold the majority. So in terms of technology too, we lead amongst all the banks. So that way we always lead. We always wanted to retain our leadership, and then now we wanted to call ourselves, and then wanted to be, and we are the leading digital bank in Bhutan. So there, because they're historically, and then they're an established company. So all the processes, systems are in place. So the management do carry all the due diligences, everything. So we don't need to get so much involved. So it's very strategic decision, very high level decisions which come to the board. There we spend very short time, and then we are given a scenario and then options, and then depending on the options to choose, to gauge and to assess ourselves, and then choose and then execute, and then pass directions or instructions to the management. So there's very high level and then very quick. Where is in the cable operator? So is the we have an organization called MSO, a multi-system operator or multi-service operator. So it is an organization, or the company is a company, incorporated company owned by the cable operators in Bhutan. So I'm also one of the cable operators. So there is a relatively a new company. So that was established only in 2021. So we'll have to put in so many systems, processes, and then right now it is so chaotic. So if you compare, for example, Bank of Bhutan and the cable operator, that MSO is like 1,000 times smaller. But then we spend a day or two trying to figure out what to decide on what needs to be done, because there are no systems and processes. But we are improving, so we are putting those into places. So there it is really nitty gritty, very low level. So we'll have to decide from everything. For example, paying how much to pay, for example, for a fuel expenses to the CO, to the, for example, the engineer, to an engineer, how much, for example, daily sustenance allowance to pay if somebody goes on a tour field, on a tour. So many processes, systems, rules to put in place. So it's very chaotic right now. Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah.
So there is a lot of buzz of AI around the technology world.
Right.
You must have been heard. So if I look at the use cases of telecom along with AI, then it can be used in many scenarios. For example, looking at the geographic terrain and difficulty of Bhutan, it can be used to provide better services by detecting the faults and
Right. Right.
So, is there any future of Nano where you are thinking of to incorporate any such initiative of AI or something?
Actually, I came here Delhi for an expo. Is hosted by the government of India, and then so the expo is called Bharat Telecom. So 2005, 2025. So this year's edition. So and then I've had a lot of opportunities to meet people and then visit stalls and then demo. So AI, of course, I'm a tech guy, but then AI to me is also new. I know what AI is, but then I have really not drilled down into how to, for example, I know how to use AI, for example, Chat, GPT, the DeepSeek. So those are AI that any common people can use. But then real implementation to bring efficiency in our organization, for example, in our company in Nano. So what we're thinking is mostly we wanted to start with something on the customer facing front. And then so maybe the Nano we're thinking, we have few things that we are planning to be done by the AI. For example, the customer facing, then billing and invoicing, right? The customer accounts reconciliation. So those are the areas we think. But then I can tell you what we have done in the bank, where I am the board director on the board. So last year we have implemented chatbot, AI chatbot. Okay. So all the customers' inquiries are now handled by AI chatbot. I do not know what percentage, but I could say I think easily about 80% of the customers' inquiries would be handled now by AI chatbot quite successfully. And that was the Bhutan's first chatbot implemented in Bhutan. Yeah, chatbot. Yeah. So that way, Bank of Bhutan. So we have always been leading. So we are leading, and we would like to be the leader. Okay. So mostly, I think the AI would help us start somewhere small. So do not get into the core functions. That would be very hard. So still, you need people there to the emotions, sentiments, then kind of a human decisions are needed. But then like the repetitive, mundane kind of tasks, like customer support, calls handling, for example, the account settlement, when customers pay, so how much they have paid, the dues, the balance, so the next billing. So I think those can be easily handled by AI, and then that's what I wanted to do next. We wanted to do next in Nano.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, next thing is in this whole journey of different kind of initiatives, is there any bizarre experience or bad experience which you remember and you want to mention, or any good experience?
It is not really a bad experience, but then like I'm into three businesses, you can call it. So with different sets of partners and investors.
Okay.
So first is Nano, which is purely mostly core business is internet. So which is okay, doing well. I put it that way. Then I also went into cable TV services, digital cable TV. The plan is to again offer internet services to the cable TV customers. So that was the intent, because cable TV is declining. The customers trend is declining. So most people are not watching cable TV, which you would know. Then the third one is the OTT, something like a Netflix model. And then that is struggling. So we are in the red now, meaning not doing very well. So of course we are doing so many things to revive it and then to take it forward. So we'll never abandon. So there's no bitter experience. I think every experience is a learning experience. But then sometimes you get into a thought whether maybe if I did not get into that, for example, honestly, okay, into a OTT, then I would have grown bigger for example, in the internet business. So why did I get into that? So, but then, so there's a decision we have taken, and then because it is not reversible, so there's no point regretting about it. So that's what I believe. So always move forward, even if you fail. So we'll have to try until we can absolutely can't do anything about it. So that's how it goes. So no bitter experience so far. But then like you covered earlier, so the bitter, not really bitter experience, some kind of negative, for example, I think it's the competition. So the two big companies thought that Nano was growing very big. We were actually not growing big, but then we were growing fast. Then they thought they found us to be a threat, and then so they went into a pricing war, in a huge pricing war. And then because they have financial capability, so they can go really down, reduce prices like anything, and then kill us, and then completely wipe us out. So those were the situations, the kind of hard situations, not really bitter situations. Yeah. But then we survived. So we are doing okay. Hopefully we can survive.
So what was your approach to handle then?
The first thing, what I noticed from my experiences is I never had kind of any strategy or even a brilliant idea to counter them. But then what I noticed, so that was all from learning from the customers. There was, I think, the certain segment of customers who would always go for, of course, in any things, I think the customers are price sensitive. I do not have a proof or statistics of my own, but then I would think about in anything, in any business, in any product or services, I would assume simply that 70 to 80% of the customers would be price sensitive. Price sensitive means they will go for the dirt cheap or the lowest of the two or the options. But there would always be 20 to 30% of the customers who would be quality centric. Always prefer quality over price. So those quality centric customers are the ones we addressed. We went after. So that's why we have a high retention of customers loyalty. So that was the difference. Yeah. So always focus on the kind of high value customers, sensitive or quality centric customers. Yeah, and then that's how we are surviving now.
So you have created a different segment.
True. So we have never done really a kind of real marketing or promotions. So all our customers are, of course, through my own network. So they know me. So because it's a small, first thing is that. Second is through a word of mouth, customer to customer recommendation. So that is it. We have never spent any. Actually, I would say not even 50,000 INR for the marketing. Never. So it's just simply word of mouth. Recommendation by one customer to another.
Okay, that's great.
And then because we were able to offer better than the other two, so that's the difference.
Okay, so generally it has been seen that athletes,
Yeah.
they are specifically footballers, there
Yeah.
are three qualities.
Mm.
One is higher cognitive abilities, faster reflexes, and better decision making. So this may sound technical,
Yeah.
but that is also reflected in you. Being you also play football, and at the same time you are involved in different sections like cable TV association, and second is your Nano, third is OTT. So do you think that your involvement in football has given you that agility, or how you
Actually,
can
not the
relate it?
agility. Actually, my football. So football is the one that has made me known to people in Bhutan. Meaning, not everybody, but then people who knew me fast through football. Actually, so I was quite a good player in Bhutan in football. So sometimes some of my friends say and I'm also proud of it. They say so far, and then Bhutan. Some of my friends who saw me play during my high school time. So it still say today. So Bhutan. So I was one of the best football players, or probably the best. They said Bhutan had never produced a football player like me.
Okay.
But then I didn't get into a national team, though I got selected. So actually, football, I think for me so far, I think is the one that made me what it is today, because I was known to play good football, and then so that ability or my skill in football enabled me to make friends easily with anybody. Is a first thing is a team game, right? You also play in a team. Also, you also need to coordinate or counter opponent. So it's completely a game played between so many people. So that teaches a lot of things to handle real life situations, right? Including business. So that football taught me so many things, and then because I played football and then I was known for playing good football, and then people knew me. So and then they'll also remember me, and then so they'll know me. So so interacting with them or like making friends with them was easy, and then approaching them for example, if I wanted to market my business or my service to them, so that was easy. So that's how I think the football taught me the skills to socialize, to network, and then to handle any kind of situations and to know people. I think knowing people is, I think, I would attribute as the best requirement for somebody getting into a business. Is always knowing people. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
One more thing,
Yeah.
what is because you are entrepreneurs, you are part of many businesses. So what is a typical week for you? So you work, how many hours you work, how many work hours you
Okay.
manage with your self growth and outdoor, many things.
I work less actually,
Achha.
and I hang out with people more. I think in a week, 70 to 80% of my time, I would spend with people, meeting people. I'll not work. So meeting people would be like potential new customers, right? Then my existing customers, interacting with them, playing, for example, football with them, sometimes drinking beer with them, sometimes going hiking for them, sometimes with them, sometimes going camping with them. So that's what I do mostly, retaining the relationship, I would call it, on a personal as well as business relationship, and that's how the word of mouth or the recommendation goes through. So because we are so close, right? So they trust me, they trust my products, so they're my customers, or my service, they're my customers. So they find it easier to recommend to others. So that's how the network gets built. Then I work maybe like in a week, maybe 20-30% of the time would be my real working, maybe emailing or responding to, or handling the messages, or like or talking with Rajiv ji, or Nihar ji, or other people, like, yeah, work related. So mostly I'm outside. So one of my partners, business partners, tell me I have very high social capital, meaning a huge network. That's why I can, my friends, people who know me will trust me straight. If I request them to invest, for example, okay, 1 crore in the business I want to start, they will, without a second question, most of them will put in. But then that's because that is something I don't do without my concrete plans, without my concrete the determination, and then without my concrete foresight. If I'm not sure, because I'm known for that, so that's the reason why they trust me. So, and then I would never capitalize or take advantage of them and then put everybody down the drain. Yeah.
So, do you read books or something?
Actually, I don't read books. I read newspapers, sometimes articles.
So what is your favorite outdoor place where you like to spend much more time?
Deep into the deep forest by the riverside. So that's where we go camping quite often. That's my hobby, and I would like to spend time there. And then I actually do that sometimes. For example, if I don't know what to do on a certain day, right, or I'm stressed, so I have off-road car, and then I would drive myself to deep into the jungle or high up in the mountains or by the riverside where there are no people, no settlement, but then there are roads accessible. So I would go there and then I'll work there from there. Yeah.
So it is safe.
Yeah.
Not in India.
Yeah. It's refreshing. It's safe. Yeah, and then I enjoy nature.
So Bhutan is known for gross national happiness. So for our audience who don't know about this, how you define gross national happiness? Because generally we estimate every country in terms of GDP, which is money they are earning, how much each people have allocated and how they are satisfied. That's how the measurement of other countries. But Bhutan's measurement is something different.
Actually, I don't qualify to make any statement on the gross national happiness because of I do not know so much about the gross national happiness, but then the little bit and pieces that I know about gross national happiness is, I think it's kind of contentment, that meaning you'll have to put a limit to your desire, to your greed, because these two, desire, greed, and maybe there's so many things, but these are the two I know. So if you do not put a limit to those, so you will never be happy. So I think that is the philosophy. Gross national happiness is a philosophy, so coined or conceived by our His Majesty the King, the fourth king. Right now we have the fifth king. So I think he believed that way, because the happiness is, you need definitely GDP or the material wealth to make you happy, but then it is not entirely the for example, the wealth that, or the GDP of a country, or a family wealth that makes you happy. For example, I read so many times online, or they also come in the news, a person would win, for example, 10 million or $30 million lottery, but then ultimately, so all of them, I also saw some kind of I think interview about them, the lottery winners. So nobody, not a single person was happy amongst the winners. So they always said that actually winning the lottery brought them more chaos, distress, those kind of situations. So I think that is for me, I believe is the happiness, cross national happiness. While you require material wealth and money to make you happy, but then that would be just one of the many requirements or the that would make people happy, but it's not entirely the money. So less greed, less desire, and then so whatever you have. So like I said, if you have to live happy, then you always choose, I think, which of the two for me, whether you put more focus on the work or more focus on the living. So of course you have to work to make a living, but then if you keep on working and then you have no time for living. And sometimes I also find myself, and it gives me some kind of a reflection. Some days, because I do small businesses, so I'm never a rich person. Okay, I'm okay in Bhutan, but I'm not a wealthy person. So sometimes I find myself, and I'm sure you would have, or every person would have found or got into that kind of situation. Sometimes you don't have time to eat your lunch meal. You're working entirely. Then you begin reflecting, I'm working so much. I'm working to make a living. So living and having a meal is part of living, right?
Right.
You're working so much that you don't have time to eat a meal. Yeah, and then that's not living. So that's the kind of balance I think we will have to bring in, and that I think is a gross national happiness from my understanding. Yeah, it is not that we don't. Bhutan never said. I do not think so. The gross national happiness doesn't say GDP is not important. So GDP is important, but then you have other consideration and factors to make people happy. So that's my understanding of gross
And
national
is
happiness.
there anything preached means how you practice this gross this because making the decision to stay happy or
Right.
putting out time. So is there any process or teaching done across youths, or it is just practice from families?
They have we have this a research organization in Bhutan. We call it Center for Bhutan Studies. So they're into only research, academic research, and this kind of research. And then they're the ones doing a lot of research on the research, then execution plans, then the real ground gross national happiness, how it can be translated onto the real ground feel and the people, every individual. So they have come up with so many things, something called 9 domains, and then like 60 or 70 indicators, right? So many. So that's how they do. And then, but then while they have that kind of from their research, those would be the domains in the indicators that one has to operate to be happy. But then it is kind of a kind of recommendation rather than strict what the instruction like a prescribed instructions that if you follow you're going to happy. So I don't think that will work at all. So how one practices is really up to one's but then what we do on a very high level, like any policy, any for example at a government level policy, right, high level policy, so what they try to do is incorporate and always have in conscience the gross national happiness is more important. So that means somebody, it's not that okay when we build a big project to that will, for example, generate billions of dollars of revenue for the company or let's say a community, but then if it doesn't bring happiness, for example, if it destroys the, for example, the environment of that community, right, then people have to move out, and then they will be affected or they get disgruntled by having to move out. For example, if a project comes here and then the owner of this house, Mr. Rajiv ji, has to be moved out, then his whole family will be not happy, right, having stayed there so much. So those kind of considerations will have to be made. So while we do focus on the material growth, the wealth of the prosperity of the country. So we don't harm the people. We don't make people disgruntled or take away their happiness. So those kind of considerations are made on the high level policy. So that's how it is done in Bhutan.
So in my recent visit to Bhutan, where I met Tasi also.
Mm.
So you are saying he works 6 months very hard, and next 6 months he has kept for enjoying himself.
Right,
He
right.
goes to different country to meet with different friends
Right.
and do whatever he wants.
Right.
So that is the clarity I think every Bhutanese have.
Right.
Not somehow we are in the race, we have forgotten how to live.
Right.
We're just after some goal or target.
Right.
So that is a kind of learning for me, and no doubt nature is quite air quality is much way better than
Right,
at least
right.
for Delhi.
Right.
And that's why it is very different and very serene experience, I
Right,
would say,
right.
for Bhutan.
So we have like some kind of 4 pillars. I can't remember all of them. Something we talked about nature, right? So nature, environmental preservation, then cultural preservation, so conservation, environmental conservation, cultural preservation. So those kind of factors, the living, which affect day-to-day living of the people, are incorporated into the policy. We may not have gone right in all the policies, but then those are the factors we consider while making any decision, any policy. So those help, I think. So generally, I think it's relative. So we are happy. It may be because we live in, for example, here, example, I'll say Bhutan, case of Thimphu, our capital city, and like Delhi, India's capital city. So a person may go from one place to another, but there's so much traffic here. So here you get into a traffic rush or a traffic jam, and then people may get into a road rage. So, but in Bhutan is a completely different situation. So there's no traffic jam. So people won't get into a traffic or don't get into a road rage. So that is the difference and the reality. So it's a situation. So Bhutan, I think right now, because of our king's vision, and so mainly from the king's vision, that's how Bhutan is written. So that's why it has an atmosphere built or conducive to making people more, I think, happy than most other countries, I would put it. Yeah. It's just a situation, I think. Relative.
Yeah, that much. And I would say your journey is something which reminds us that staying rooted doesn't mean staying still. It means working with the right intention to build and to give something back to the society as well.
Right.
So, anything you want to add?
Not really. So I thank you, Ratna, for having me. So I hope whatever opinions I shared with you, maybe so it could be of interest to other viewers, your viewers. Of course, they may not learn so many things from me, but then this is something I learned through my own, and then if it helps anybody, yeah, and then so whatever I do, I'm definitely sure it's the not right approach or the right way of doing, but then I've simply been fortunate so far. So long way to go, so many things to learn, so many things to do, and then sometimes, like for a living, sometimes I get a reflection: should I really need to work? Why not retire? But then I think for a living too, I believe you have to work. So keeps you healthy, keeps you moving, keeps you physically fit too. So that's what I think. And then if I stop doing anything, then I have nothing to do, and then I might even get into, for example, health issue. That's what people say when you stop working. So then you think of so many things, negative things, and then even a small sickness will worry you so much. Then your sickness it becomes more serious. So I think we have to keep on going. Yeah, it's for a living.
No, definitely your journey is very different, because that's why I've started that. You belong to a close and collective society,
Right.
and how you have grown using that resources, that is different, and that is
Okay.
innovation. I could see that your way of handling people is quite different. The concept you introducing Nano, which is able to retain the talent, that is a thing which many organizations struggles.
Right.
Even though they have everything, they can pay when they can they can give anything if they want, but
Right,
still
right.
they are not able to do
Right,
that. So
right.
something, obviously there is many things to learn from
Mm.
you. And thank you that you have found a time and joined us here. It's a great opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you. Who next will do in Bhutan?
Yeah, and next we will do in Bhutan.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
this journey.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.